Qur'an as a title. So in this lesson, we're going to learn about the Qur'an, what it is, how it came to us, everything about it. So we don't want to be reading a strange book that we don't understand. We want the strangeness of this book to go away. So it's a book that we understand and we can relate to the Qur'an. But the only way that it will stop being a strange book is when we understand the book, isn't it? Yeah. When you recognize someone, then that person stops being a stranger. So same with the Qur'an as well. So here we're going to learn about the structure of the Qur'an, where it came from. So I'm going to read because you guys don't have the books in front of you right now. So it might be a bit boring listening to all these things because you don't have a book in front of you, but you'll survive. Okay, so last time we learned about the books of Allah, isn't it? How many How many main books were there?
4.
4 main books. Okay, Onyx, say one and say the Prophet was revealed to.
Torah, and it was revealed to the Prophet Musa.
Okay, Torah revealed to the Prophet Musa. Tia?
The Bible, and it was to Isa.
Isa.
The Quran was revealed to Prophet Musa.
It's not Isa. And there's one left.
Oh,
Anyone? Revealed to?
Dawud.
Yes, well done. Dawud alayhi salam. So 4 main books of Allah. And the difference between this, all the other scriptures, and the Quran was that the preservation of the previous books was left to the responsibility of the people. So Bible, the Torah, the Zabur of Dawood. So the responsibility of all these books to look after them was purely the people's responsibility. That's why they started becoming changed. People changed things, people added things, people took out things. And we learnt about this, isn't it? Until the book became no longer a book that's able to be followed, and then Allah would reveal a new book with a new prophet. Does that make sense? Okay, so what we'll do, I'll just tell you brief things to write down. So you don't have to write down everything. So all you can write down is the previous books were changed. So that's, as long as you've got that written down, that's fine. So for now, so write the previous books were changed. Now, when it came to the Quran, who took the responsibility of preserving the book?
for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
He's not alive today. How is he going to take that responsibility?
Preserving. The people.
Mm.
Oh, they memorized it.
Yeah. Any other answers? That's true. Who took the responsibility? I'm going to read one verse of the Quran. In the Quran, Allah says, "Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun." Allah says, and indeed we sent down the Quran and we will be its guardian. So Allah is using we to refer to Himself. So Allah is saying that regarding the Quran, it's not just the people's responsibility. Allah Himself will look after this Quran, so it does not change until the Day of Judgment. Does that make sense? So next bullet point, right? Allah has promised to preserve the Quran. So that's why the Quran will never be changed like the other books. Because the other books, the people took the responsibility, isn't it? Yeah? That's why the Quran was changed before. Whereas the Quran, so the other books were changed. Whereas the Quran will never change because Allah has taken the responsibility. So then the book reads, so this is a very good book. It's by Islamic Academy of Coventry. Someone forwarded it to me and I read through it, and it's a very good book. So therefore the Quran is its original form, so you don't have to write anything else down. So just, unless you really want to write something down, you can do. But if you don't, you can just, whatever I tell you to write down, you can write down. But if you want to write anything extra that you hear, you can do. Therefore the Quran in its original form, free from any type of change, insertion or deletion. This is the only heavenly book which is still in the same form as it was revealed to its prophet. So 1,400 something years ago the Quran revealed and is still in its original form today. Nothing has been added, nothing has been deleted, nothing has been changed. That's why if you look at a Quran in any country in the world, it'll be exactly the same thing. There won't be, a different passage here or a different sentence here or this is reworded like this. Every letter is the same and every sentence is the same. Every dot, yeah? Does that make sense? And one of the reasons is why everything is remained the same, because Allah said He promised He's going to preserve the Quran, isn't it? How did He do that? What measures did Allah put in place?
I'm not entirely sure. Now I think about it.
Okay, yeah.
to make sure that it was preserved, and like, so obviously it was him that, but obviously he made like the people do it. He put it in piece and like bits and like sections, so that if they
How would that preserve it? Bibles and other books are in sections. Someone mentioned it, I think.
I think he made the Quran really easy to memorize, so that loads of people could memorize it and protect it, basically.
Basically, yeah.
that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, okay. So what Allah prepared is that He enabled people to memorize it. Yeah, that's how the Quran is preserved. That's why even if you change all the Qurans in the world, you still won't be able to change the Quran because it's memorized and people are memorized, isn't it? What does the word Hafiz mean? Protector. That's why he's protecting the Quran, isn't it? So from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba, they had memorized the Quran. So the Prophet, the revelation would come to him, he'd tell it to the people, and the people would memorize it. And the reason why they were able to do that, because they had extraordinary memories. The Sahaba radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ, he even used to say, "Nahnu ummiyun, la naqra wa la naktub," that we are unlettered nation. We don't know how to read and we don't know how to write. The Prophet ﷺ himself, he did not know how to read and he did not know how to write, looking from a book. So that's why it was given to the Prophet ﷺ orally. And likewise, Sahaba, very few people at that time they knew how to read and write. So when you don't know how to read and write, how would you preserve something? Let's say if I told you something, the way you guys would preserve it is how? How would you make sure you don't forget it?
Write it down.
You write it down, isn't it? Yeah, if I give you a whole load of information, will you remember everything? No, that's why we write things down, isn't it? Whereas they didn't know how to write things down. So how would they preserve things?
In their mind.
In their memory. That's why Sahaba, they had extraordinary memories. I think Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he knew even the genealogy of his horse. So he'd know, okay, this is a horse, this is the mother, this is the father, the mother comes from that tribe, the father comes from that tribe, the mother's parents, they come from that tribe. He knows the whole ancestry and everything about the horse. And the memories were extraordinary. This is just one horse. Imagine how many horses they'd have. I think some Sahaba knew 30,000 poems just from memory. So everything was to do with the memory. So because today we've become so reliant on technology, our memory has become extremely weak. Like even when I was a child, I remember when I was about 6, 7, 8 years old, we didn't have phones and things to text from. Phones were they were brand new, and I remember the first phone I had in my house was like this big and it's like this fat. That's when I was about young. So when we need to ring our cousins and talk to them or our friends, we'd actually ring their house phones. That's how we used to communicate with others. But I remember when I was young, I used to know all my cousins' house phones, all my friends' house phones by memory because I didn't have a phone to put their numbers in. So so that's how it was. But today, it's so difficult for me to memorize phone numbers because I've become so reliant on, or we have become so reliant on technology, isn't it? So that's just an example how when you don't rely on these things, your memory is able to do a lot more. So we're able to understand how the Sahaba were and how their memories were because they didn't write at all. They used to memorize everything. So their memories were extraordinary. So first Allah uses Sahaba to memorize the Qur'an, and the generation after them memorized the Qur'an, the generation after them memorized the Qur'an, until every generation had people memorizing the Qur'an. Like I said, and then this is what we call a chain of narration. So I'm going quite fast because there's a lot to do. A chain of narration is, let's say I studied with my teacher. Let's say my teacher's name was Qari Zubair. Yeah? He studied with his teacher. So I learned the Quran from Qari Zubair. Qari Zubair learned the Quran from Qari Siddiq. Qari Siddiq learned the Quran from his teacher. From his teacher, from his teacher, from his teacher. And who does it go back to?
The first teacher.
Who was the first teacher?
Muhammad Sallallahu
Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And who taught him?
Allah.
Jibril. Who taught Jibril?
Allah.
So there's an unbroken chain which goes all the way back to the Prophet ﷺ. So when we finish madrasa, we were actually given this. This is your name, this is your teacher's name, and it goes all the way back. And there's not a single person missing in that. I think it's about 20-something people in between. So between here and Rasulullah ﷺ, there's about 20 people in that chain.
Only?
Yeah, 23 or 24, I can't remember, something like that.
I thought it'd be like 100.
No, there's not that many. So that's how the chain of narration was. So every generation, thousands and thousands of people memorizing the Quran from one person to another, from one person to another. So the Quran has never changed. So there's never a missing link. There's never, let's say, 600 years ago, there's a point where no one knew the Quran and all the links were broken. So there was a gap in history and then someone invented the Quran after that. There's nothing like that. So that's why the Quran is exactly the same. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Okay, do we need to write anything? We've got the main points, isn't it? The Quran has been preserved by Allah. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now the descent of the Quran. The Quran being revealed or coming down from Allah.
Yeah.
There were actually 2 stages. Do you guys know that? I think I mentioned it before.
Yeah.
There were 2 stages. What was the first stage?
Actually bringing it down piece by piece.
Not quite.
From Makani and not Madani and
Okay, that's after it's been revealed, and then has 2 different phases. But this is even before it's revealed. Okay, and I'll tell you. I think we did discuss it once.
Where you it down?
Not yet. Okay. So what it is, the Quran, even before Allah created the world, everything was written down is what you call the Lawhul Mahfuz. Do you guys know what the Lawhul Mahfuz is? Okay.
Oh, is that like your life? Or no, the decisions and stuff?
Okay, let me just tell you because it's going to take too long. Okay, Lawhul Mahfuz. Lawh means tablet. Mahfuz means preserved. It's a preserved tablet. Have you guys heard of that before?
No.
So before everything was created, Allah had written everything down on this preserved tablet. So the Qur'an was there as well. So the first stage of revelation was from the Lawh al-Mahfuz, all the way from the top. It came down to what you call the Baytul Izzah.
Is that the last thing?
And I'm going to explain what the Baytul Izzah is. But first, let's just go through one thing of the book. So Allah says in the Qur'an, بَلْ هُوَ قُرْآنٌ مَجِيدٌ. Allah says, rather, this is the glorious Qur'an, فِي لَوْحٍ مَحْفُوظ. This is a verse of the Qur'an. In the preserved or protected tablet. So Allah is telling us that this Qur'an was used to be in a protected tablet. So the Qur'an was... Okay, so the Qur'an, there are 2 stages to revelation, isn't it? One was... so the whole Qur'an, from the Lawh al-Mahfuz, came down to Baytul Izzah, which is called the House of Honor. Remember what I said to you? On top, you know where the Kaaba is?
Mm-hmm.
On top of the Kaaba, what's on top of the Kaaba?
The angel's Kaaba.
The angel's Kaaba, yes. And the angel's Kaaba is actually called Baytul Izzah. So they have their own Kaaba on top of that. And directly above. How many angels do tawaf for that Kaaba every day? You remember the number? I said the figure.
600,000?
No. 70,000 angels do tawaf for the Kaaba every day. A new angel. And when that angel's done its tawaf, another angel, it doesn't get another turn again because there's so many angels. So the first stage, so stage 1, from the Lawh al-Mahfuz, the entire Quran was revealed to Baytul Izzah. Does that make sense? Everyone got that?
So they were to the angels first.
Yeah. Okay. And this stage we call Inzal. Inzal means to be revealed in one go. Does that make sense? But we don't need to know these technical terms. So we'll just write the next title. Descent of the Quran. Descent means to come down. D-E-S-C-E-N-T. Descent, so that's the title. Descent of the Quran. And then write, so stage 1, that's on the next line down. Stage 1, from Lawh al-Mahfuz, so you can spell it however you want. From Lawh al-Mahfuz, and in brackets write protected tablet, so you don't forget what it's called. From Lawh al-Mahfuz, brackets protected tablet, to the Baytul Izzah. Okay, so this is a stage where the whole Quran is revealed all in one go. Everyone got that down? So from Lawh al-Mahfuz, protected tablet, to Baytul Izzah. That's it. That's what you need to get done. Okay. Now, right, stage 2, next line down. from Baytul Izzah to Rasulullah. From Baytul Izzah to Rasulullah. And over how many years was that?
23.
Yeah, just write that in. Over 23 years. So this is what you call tanzil, which means to be revealed gradually. But you don't have to write that down.
What was it from Bait Rasulullah
To Rasulullah. Over 23 years. So stage 1 and stage 2. Any questions on that so far?
No.
Everyone understood it?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 periods of revelation.
To the angels and to people.
Okay, do you know when was the Qur'an revealed from the Lawh al-Mahfuz to the Baytul Izzah? Do you know when that was? What day? What month? What year? Any ideas?
It was the year when the Prophet Muhammad was.
You said before everything.
Oh,
Okay, let me tell you. First, Allah says in the Qur'an, "Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr." Indeed, we revealed it in the night of power. What's Allah referring to here? Is Allah talking about stage 1 or stage 2? That we revealed the Qur'an in the night of power.
1.
2.
Stage 1, stage 2. Yeah, what do you think?
One extra, isn't it?
1.
Yes, because the stage 2 was revealed over how many years? 23 years. And that happened in different occasions, different incidents. You know, so many different things happen. It's revealed gradually throughout the years and years and years. Whereas stage 1 is revealed all in one go, isn't it? Yeah, that's what Allah is referring to. They revealed the Qur'an, i.e. from the Lawh al-Mahfuz to the Baytul Izzah on the night of power. That's why you know Laylatul Qadr, that's why it's so special. That was the night where the Qur'an came down to Baytul Izzah. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Easy? Okay, then the second stage of revelation was over 23 years. And this is known as Tanzil. How old was the Prophet ﷺ when he received the first revelation?
40.
Yeah, just write that in as a note. 40 years old when he received first revelation. Or when he was 40, you can even write that. Or started when he was 40. And the first revelation actually took place in the month of Ramadan as well. And according to many scholars, on Laylatul Qadr.
Do you have to put during Ramadan?
You don't have to know. So that's when the first revelation actually took place, in the month of Ramadan. And according to many scholars, the first revelation actually took place to the Prophet ﷺ, also in Laylatul Qadr as well. That's what Allah says in the Quran, شَهْرُ رَمَضَانَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنِ. The month of Ramadan in which was revealed the Quran. Okay. Any questions so far on the stages of revelation?
No.
Okay, next is, anyone know what... Okay, we've got the Quran in front of us, which is like 800 something pages. What were the first verses to be revealed to the Prophet ﷺ? Anyone know?
Sorry, 40.
That
No.
one?
Wait.
Oh.
It's not going to say that.
It's not in here.
No, it's not going to say that. Actually, no, it's not in there. That's just the first 3 juz.
Yeah, but didn't you say the first?
Okay, so I'm going to read from this book. It is a unanimous... actually, write the next title, First Verses Revealed. So I'm trying to write it in short bullet points. So, yeah, First Verses Revealed. It is the unanimous view that the first verses to be revealed were the first 5 verses of Suratul Alaq.
Say that again?
Suratul Alaq.
The
So-
whole thing.
Sorry?
The whole thing.
What whole thing? Oh, say that again, the whole thing. So what you can write, so have you written the title?
First verse is revealed.
So write first surah to be revealed were the first 5 verses of Suratul Alaq. So you can write in short. First surah to be revealed or first surah revealed? Were the first 5 verses of Suratul Alaq.
How many verses are there in total of Surah Al-Alaq?
I can't remember. Let's check.
Alaq.
Yeah, A-L-A-Q. So first 5 verses of Suratul Alaq. Can you pass me your Qur'an? Let me just get it out. Okay. Have you memorized it before? اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Over here. Have you memorized it before? Okay. So the first 5 verses. Number 1, it says اقرأ. So this, remember, who was the prophet before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Isa.
Isa. How many years had passed between them?
Couple hundred?
Do you guys remember?
Wait,
Oh yeah, it was a couple of hundreds. How many hundreds? Yeah, 570.
60.
Very close. 570.
mm-hmm.
Yes, 500. She got better than you. You didn't guess. Okay, 570 years had passed. So so for 570 years, Allah hasn't told a human being anything. Allah hasn't told him to do anything. Allah hasn't revealed any scriptures or nothing. What do you think and remember, people are busy worshipping idols. People have forgotten about Allah. People don't care about right and wrong anymore. People don't care about Jannah, Jahannam anymore. They're busy worshipping idols and do whatever they want. So what do you think the first thing is that Allah is going to tell the people? What message? What do you think?
There's only one word of worship.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah, what do you think? And I'm going to read out what Allah has revealed so they can compare it to what you're thinking. Just make any guess. You can say the same thing, you can say something different.
I don't know.
Can you hear what do you think? Think about it, yeah.
What Alex said, and to stop washing idols, know right from wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
I will guide you to the right path.
Okay. So it's logical, isn't it? Makes sense. Now let's see what Allah said. Verse number 1. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Read in the name of your Lord who created. So read in the name of your Lord who created. You don't have to write this down, but you can do if you want. But you don't have to write it down. Read in the name of your Lord who created. Number 2. خلق الإنسان من علق. Created man from a clot. اقرأ وربك الأكرم. Read and your Lord is most generous. الذي علم بالقلم. Who taught by the pen. علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Who taught man that which he knew not. Was there anything about worshipping one God? Was there anything about leaving idols? Was there anything about Jannah, Jahannam? Strange, isn't it? Strange? Okay, so first, what did Allah talk about? What did Allah command us to do? Read. So what's Allah indirectly saying? This has been, the 100 years that have passed by, has been generations and generations of ignorance. The reason why everyone's been doing wrong, why? Because they stopped reading. They stopped reading the scriptures, isn't it? Now Allah is...
guidance.
Yeah. So now Allah is indicating the new ummah, the new nation which is about to start, is going to be a nation of knowledge. It's going to be a nation of reading. So the first command that came down to the Prophet ﷺ was Iqra, read. And then Allah introduces himself as well. Bismi Rabbika, not just any reading, Bismi Rabbika, with the name of your Lord who created you. So this reading has to be attached to the name of Allah. Because there's many readings, the things that we can read, but it's going to misguide us. Isn't there? So many things that, let's say, books on, or science on telling us that God doesn't exist. So if you read that, will you be doing good? Or it's going to misguide you, isn't it? So not just any type of reading, that reading which connects you to Allah, about Islam, about religion, about understanding Allah. So اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Read in the name of your Lord who created, meaning who created the entire universe. Allah has introduced himself as our Lord, and he's introduced himself as the creator of the universe, isn't it? خلق الإنسان من علق. Now Allah is just describing how he created humans. He created insan from a clot. And then Allah commands us again, Iqra wa rabbukal akram. Read, and your Lord is most generous. See how Allah is introducing Himself here? Read, and Allah is saying, read, and your Lord is most powerful, or your Lord is the one who, who destroys everything. Allah is telling us how generous He is. Alladhi allama bil qalam, who taught by the pen. So Allah is telling us that we're going to be a nation indirectly, that we're going to be a nation of reading and writing. Does that make sense? That's why scholars are so important in Islam. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that scholars are the inheritors of the prophets, because they're the ones that possess this quality of reading and writing the most. عَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ. And Allah taught man that which he knew not. So these are the first 5 verses revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. And what happened was the Prophet ﷺ, you guys probably know the story, isn't it? The Prophet ﷺ, he used to go to a cave called the Cave of Hira. And he used to go there to meditate. Do you guys know the story? Actually, it's coming in our seerah lesson in a few, maybe the next seerah lesson that we're going to do is actually coming there. But let's just tell you anyway, so I don't have to tell you that. The Prophet ﷺ, he used to go to a mountain called Cave of Hira. So if you want to see it, it's the pictures here. Pictures here, that's the mountain. Yeah. So he used to go to a mountain, he used to go there for days and days and just stay there. And he used to take food with him. And when food would run out, he'd come home, spend some time with his family, take some more food, and go to the mountain again. So he used to love seclusion, because I've made you guys do a timeline, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We went to the age 35, isn't it? Age 35. Now, what age did he become a prophet? 40. So during that time, he started liking spending time with himself. So he used to go to the cave, think about everything around him, think about all the people, the oppression that people are doing, all the wrong things that people are doing. He used to think about everything. He used to go and worship Allah, do tasbih of Allah, dhikr of Allah, in whatever form he used to worship Allah. And then one day what happened was, imagine you're in a dark cave, complete black, yeah? And an angel comes. Or he didn't know he was an angel, just a figure or something comes. And he said to the Prophet ﷺ, do you know what he said? What he said was, Iqra, read. Could the Prophet ﷺ read? No. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ma ana biqari. I can't read. And the angel Jibreel said to him again, Iqra. Same response. Ma ana biqari. I can't read, I'm not able to read. The angel Jibreel said again, Iqra. And he said, Ma ana biqari. And then then Jibreel, what he done? He grabbed hold of the Prophet ﷺ, squeezed him, and then he told him again, read. And then from that, the Prophet ﷺ began to read the words of revelation, Iqra. Then he started to read these 5 verses. So these are first 5 verses Jibreel brought to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And then the Prophet Jibreel ﷺ told him to read these, and then I think he repeated them after him. I said, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq.
Why didn't they learn to read or write?
Because they're just village people. They didn't really need to learn how to read and write. And they didn't have schools, university, they didn't have any of these things. So then when the first revelation came place and then Jibreel went, the Prophet ﷺ, he was sweating profusely. His whole body was drenched in sweat. And when he went, he immediately went back to his wife. What was his wife's name?
Khadija.
Khadija radiallahu
yeah.
anha. Yeah. So he went back to her, and he was sweating. He was very cold, and he said to Khadija, "Zammiluni, zammiluni." Have you guys heard of the nasheed? Okay, let's play it. Let me get it up. It's a very interesting nasheed. Listen to it now. Yeah, listen to it. Sounds cool, doesn't it?
He stepped inside his home.
Okay, this is gonna explain the situation. Instead of me doing it, just listen to this and it's gonna explain what
An angel
happened.
came with words from God. Things were still unclear. Saying, read, read, but he couldn't was that he heard a trembling deep inside his heart, confused by what had occurred. There was only one who could comfort him, to help him see the light, to ease his fears, to reassure, was Khadija, his wife. He said, Zammiluni, Zammiluni,
That's when he went back to Khadija and told him to wrap him up. It's extremely cold.
task has come before me. I need you here with me.
So the Prophet was extremely confused. He didn't know what's happening. He thought he was going to die.
By my side.
And he said to Khadija, I think I'm going to die, because the pain and the weight that just came upon him. The revelation was very heavy and very difficult for the Prophet ﷺ.
She was a woman of
Explained to
nobility,
Khadija.
successful in all her trade. Many wealthy men had asked for her. She turned them all away. But when she saw Muhammad, a shining moon, made peace beyond his soul. He was a light for her, so right for her. Her life will now be whole. But she had never seen him so distressed as he was that
Going back to the day of the
day.
revelation.
She would comfort him and hold him tight and chase his doubts away when he said, Zammiluni, Zammiluni, Dathiruni, Dathiruni, a mighty task has come before me. I need you here with me, by my side, by my side, by my side. We look for stories of love in places dark and cold.
Okay, so when he went back to Khadija radiallahu anha, he was sweating, he was cold.
How is he second?
Okay, the reason why it's okay, that's a good question. What revelation was something extremely heavy and extremely difficult. That's why Allah actually says in the Qur'an, Allah says, لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. Allah says, if we were to reveal this Qur'an upon a mountain, the entire mountain would come crashing into pieces. Revelation, this is the light of Allah and it comes from Allah Himself. So us, a normal human being, will not be able to handle revelation, will die straight away. It will be too heavy for our hearts to bear this. We're not strong enough. That's why the Prophet ﷺ became, the reason why he became Prophet at the age of 40, Allah is training his heart and his body, everything, until it reaches the peak at the age of 40. Remember how his heart was cleaned? Do you remember the story of splitting of the chest? The Prophet's heart ﷺ was cleaned with Zamzam, taken and purified 4 times before the age, before he became a prophet. So that Allah is getting his heart ready to be able to bear the weight of prophethood, and his physical body as well, and spiritual body as well, everything.
Is that what happened for all the other prophets?
I'm not sure. We don't have much detail about the other prophets. Possible, but I'm not sure.
Why don't, oh, is it because they were way he was like the last one and some of the places?
Mm.
So the ones before don't have as much information.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
and because the Prophet hasn't told us about them anyway, because we don't really need to know. If we knew, if we don't know, it's not going to make any difference to us, is it? Yeah.
Did something happen to Isa alayhi salam?
I don't know.
Mm.
Okay, so the reason why he was sweating, remember, imagine your body going through a lot of exercise, more than your body can bear. You're going to start sweating, isn't it? Imagine going through a very heavy workout. So that was an extremely heavy workout for the Prophet ﷺ. Another thing is, when you do a heavy workout and you stop very quickly, your body becomes very cold. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ was cold, and he went to Khadija radiallahu anha, telling her to wrap him up, because it immediately just stopped, isn't it? So that's why he went to Khadija and told her to wrap him up. So I'm going to read from this book. So the third hadith in the first chapter of Sahih al-Bukhari gives a very detailed account of the instant when our Rasulullah ﷺ started to receive the wahi. Wahi in Arabic, what does that mean? Revelation. Yeah, you guys should remember that. Aisha radiallahu anha narrates that the beginning of revelation to Rasulullah ﷺ was pious dreams. So this was before the first verse of Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq was revealed. The way revelation started was the Prophet ﷺ, even before he turned 40, he'd start seeing true dreams. So he'd see a dream, he'd wake up, and yeah, exactly the same thing will happen. It is. But these were signs leading up to the Prophet ﷺ's actual main revelation, which is the Qur'an. Yeah? And that's why later the Prophet ﷺ said there are many parts to prophethood, and one part of prophethood is actually true dreams. They're from Allah. So then what happened was, then Rasulullah ﷺ developed a love for seclusion and withdrawing himself from other people. We mentioned that, isn't it? Before he became a prophet, he used to just love staying by himself. He used to seclude himself in the cave of Hira, and he used to worship in there. The cave of Hira is located outside of Makkah on a mountain called Jabal Nur. We went there when we went. So when you guys go, you can actually go inside the cave and see where the Prophet ﷺ used to spend all this time. You want to stop in a few minutes. Next heading is what you call types of wahi. So write that down. Types of wahi. Wahi, W-A-H-I. Types of wahi. So we've learnt a few things about the Qur'an, isn't it? How many stages of revelation were there?
Oh, sorry, no,
Two.
sorry.
Yeah?
I was thinking
2 stages of revelation.
This thing.
And we also learnt, actually before that, who took the responsibility of preserving the Qur'an? Allah. Did Allah do the same to the other books? No. And then so 2 revelations. What was the first stage of revelation on it?
From Rahul Mahfuz to Baytul Izzah.
Yeah, Lahul Mahfuz with a dha at the end. Yeah?
Mahfuz.
And Tia, what was the second stage of revelation?
From Baytul Issa to Rasulullah.
Yeah, Rasulullah just means messenger of Allah, meaning the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay,
Yeah? Over how many years?
23.
20 years. What age did it start?
When he was 40.
40. And what night did the Quran come down to the Prophet, to the Baytul Izzah from Lawh al-Mahfuz? What night was it?
Laylatul Qadr.
Laylatul Qadr. Okay, that's fine. So that's and what are the first verses to be revealed to the Prophet Muhammad? Niha?
The first 5 of Surah Al-Alaq.
Surah Al-Alaq. And what does Allah instruct us to do in there?
Read.
Read. Okay, so now we're going to do one quick thing and we're going to finish for the day. And we're going to continue next lesson. So types of wahi, types of revelation. So that's your title. So now you just listen for now. So now the next question is, so now we're on our path to understanding the Quran. Next question is, how did Allah send the Quran to the prophets? What did it look like? Did Allah come down and talk to him? Did Allah send angels to talk to him?
Allah said.
Okay, it's okay. I'm not going to take it because we're running out of time.
Okay.
So I'm just going to answer it myself. So these are the different possibilities, isn't it? One could be Allah just wrote in a piece of paper and sent the paper to him through an angel. Or one thing could be Allah told the angel and the angel went and told the Prophet Muhammad. So is it just one way it came down or there are many different ways it came down? Yeah, so let's get these questions answered so we know for sure. So Allah says in the Quran, so I'm gonna read a passage of the Quran. وَمَا كَانَ لِبَشَرٍ أَن يُكَلِّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا وَحْيًا أَوْ مِنْ وَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ أَوْ يُرْسِلَ رَسُولًا فَيُوحِي بِإِذْنِهِ مَا يَشَاءُ إِنَّهُ عَلِيٌّ حَكِيمٌ. Okay, I'm going to translate. Well, the book's going to translate. And it is not for a mortal that Allah Azza wa Jal should speak to him except by revelation. So that's one way. Except by revelation or from behind a veil, or that he sends a messenger to reveal whatever he wills by his leave. Okay, now it's going to break it down. So write down, there are 3 types of wahi. And then write colon, then write number 1 at the bottom. Next line. There are 3 types of wahi. Number 1, wahi at heart. And I'm going to explain what it is and you're going to write down the explanation. Okay, so let me read it first. Wahi at heart. This is where the Prophet is inspired in the heart by Allah. We're not just talking about Rasulullah anymore, we're just talking about all the prophets. Yeah, so whenever a prophet got revelation, how did it happen? This was one way. So this is where the Prophet is inspired in the heart by Allah. There is no angel or discourse. So Allah doesn't talk to him. angel doesn't talk to him, the Prophet will know this has come from Allah. This type of wahi can occur during sleep or wakefulness. Dreams are also included with this type of wahi. This is how Allah Azza wa Jal commanded Ibrahim alayhi salam to slaughter his son Ismail alayhi salam. So this, in other words, is a thought that comes into the heart of the Prophet, and the Prophet realizes straight away that this is a revelation from Allah. So just write that down. A thought which comes into the heart of a Prophet. Either awake or asleep. While awake or asleep. And we mentioned, so Ibrahim alayhi salam's dream, isn't it? How he saw in a dream that he was supposed to sacrifice his son Ismail. That's the same type of revelation. So dreams also falls under this.
How did he sacrifice his son?
He didn't. You don't know the story? Allah commanded him to do it, but he didn't do it. Because Allah told him, Allah changed his son out. And Allah is just testing him. If he'd actually listened to Allah. Because Allah actually didn't want him to sacrifice his son. Okay, so everyone onto the first type. So this is, you can call it the lowest type of revelation. Because there's no conversation between Allah and a Prophet. There's no angel coming down. Just a thought that occurs in the heart. Next title is, number 2 is direct from Allah. That's number 2. And then write the description, Allah speaks to a Prophet directly. So this is, that's what you need to write. Allah speaks to the Prophet directly. And if you want in brackets, most honored form of wahi. So this is the highest form, most honored form of wahi. So Allah speaks directly to the Prophet. There is no intermediary, there is no angel passing on the messages. And the sound, our human intellect cannot understand the sound. We cannot imagine what this would sound like, what it would feel like. It's completely to do with out of our realm, what Allah would sound like. We can't even imagine. So, and this is the way that Allah actually spoke to Musa alayhi salam. The Prophet Moses, Allah would speak to him directly. That's why Musa alayhi salam, his other name was Kalimullah, the one that Allah spoke to directly. That's a special status given to Musa alayhi salam, because generally his revelation would be direct conversation with Allah. And the last one, and with which we're going to finish with, is through the medium of an angel, number 3. Medium. Medium is like a tool that you use to send something else. Let's say the medium of writing notes is what? The pen. So using the pen to write, isn't it? That's just what it means. It's a technical way of saying something not so technical. So just write the description. Allah sends his message through an angel. That's it. Allah sends his message through an angel. I can just write another point in there actually. The angel comes sometimes in its original form, in a human form. So sometimes the angel comes in its original form, or in a human form, or the Prophet only hears the angel. So 3 ways. The Prophet only hears the angel. So in its original form, in human form, or the Prophet only hears the angel. And what was the name of the angel in charge of this? Jibreel. Okay, we'll finish there.